thoughts on the matrix and the cube folding and unfolding. Thank you for having a look. We'll look at the matrix first. So if you haven't seen it, the idea is you have what looks like a normal document, even though it is a cube. But if you pull down, you get more space to read it in XR. And then if you pull to the right, you get information such as maybe references, outline, that kind of stuff. So there can be many different things, including pictures, which you can pinch out to see really large, put them back. And if there's anything else like references, outline, you can pull it, put it into space wherever you want to. So this is a common technique in fiction where you have each chapter. There are many, many notes in a spreadsheet for what's happening, who is there, what environment, what tone, all of that good stuff. So the question is, could this be useful in academic writing and in academic reading? Please note this is not about AI. There are several types of metadata can be in these cells. Some of it can be AI, of course it can, but some of it can also be from the original documents. So in author, I just tested a little bit. For instance, here I extracted names. It's a bit hard to skim. But now if I put in a separate column, it's a lot easier to skim in the outline view. We've also, as a test, added, if you command click on a heading and write something, that can now appear in the outline as well. So different ways of choosing what to see. So this version of this was very much inspired by Sarah Walton, who is my good friend who did something like this a long time ago, much better than this. This is a very gentle version of it, and discussions with Jesse this week. So basic interactions, tap to move the whole area. You can edit the logic of the column, so it can be based on code or prompts or whatever. If there's something you don't need, you can just fold it by touching the column bars, which then become a bit thicker, and you just pull them together, and then they disappear when you don't touch them. You can also tear things off to have it in space. Special information, looking at different ways like places, you can make that big. So the key points is the text faces the user. We don't have to worry about billboarding. This does that. We can extend and contract the aspects of this virtual sheet of paper. It's user editable logic, which is important, and tear off for more spatiality. So a bit more organized. This is what's new really for today. What should be where when you pull it? So for example, we have this central column of body text, which is maybe cut by paragraphs. I don't know, we'll have to experiment. Pull a bit on the left, you have outline with headings, very much like what we did last year. On the right, you have references, also very much like last year. But then additionally on top, you can have the title with the author and date, as well as the annotation comments by the reader, which you can hide and reveal. On the left is notes by the reader. Literally notes, marked highlights and quotes, anything that they think is worth looking at. And then on the right can be more extracted things like timelines, places, names, images, all kinds of good stuff. Now, what does it mean to fold and unfold, to go between this kind of matrix and the cube? What I'm trying to do here is reconcile the cube and matrix and free-floating things, references, manuscript, paper, journal references, and so on. I've been playing around with just crumpling paper recently, like this shopping receipt, and curling it up and making it a complete mess, just to get out of the mindset of folding means only folding like a napkin. It can also have serrated edges, or not edges, but cuts in it, so it can do along specific lines. So today I was working on another aspect of how to combine the cube and the kind of open view matrix, whatever we may call it, spreadsheet view, whatever. Maybe when you pull out, the cube remains on the side or something, but then it struck me that folding and unfolding in XR really is just going from one shape to another in the service of providing the user with overview, connections, and analysis. That bears repeating. In XR, it's simply going from one shape to another, and the point is to give the user an overview of the information as well as analysis of reading it closely while being able to deal with connections too. So the question is, what shapes do we need? We need shapes where the knowledge object is one of many, as well as where the knowledge object is examined closely. So that's what we have with the cube, which we can have many of, and examine closely spreadsheet. So how do we transition? One thought is, as you've seen, you have a cube, you pull it out to the side, and then it becomes this wall mural matrix, massive thing. If you now want to get rid of the cube, maybe you put your hand in the cube and squeeze it until it becomes tiny. And to make it big again, you put your hand there and then you expand your hand from a fist. Maybe you also put it onto your arm, like Fabian has been talking about as a copy-paste. Maybe there's somewhere the smallified cubes that have been extended go into, if you have other cubes in the space, that is. Also, once you have the matrix, you should be able to pull things out of it, reorder it, change what's behind it, all that good stuff. But then the real question is how to go hyperspatial from this. Should we have many of these or exploded from these? That's what I've been really trying to deal with. And it does need, the hyperspatial, as in spatial hypertext environment, needs obviously to support objects like these, referenceable objects. And the space needs to be recorded. So that's why I'm currently thinking that we go from the matrix with any column possible to make spatial through a pull-out gesture somehow. Because this is kind of the frame where all of these things can be recorded. So we could have a glossary or references, whatever column, that can then be put into space. So thank you in trying to deal with the question, what does it mean to fold and unfold? Maybe with this we're a little closer to getting a solution, and obviously I would greatly appreciate perspectives, so if you would bring that up in a meeting and ideally write it down, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.